Good day. Welcome. This is your Daily Med with Lady V. Today we would like to take a look at Numbers and the story of the 12 spies, which runs from Numbers chapter 13 through 14 and also in Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 19 through 45. We see where God told his people after they were traveling, they crossed the Red Sea and they were going along. He told them, listen, I have a special land for you. It is called Canaan. I am giving you this land. So you just go and possess it. And we will see today where they become afraid, where they doubted God, and how long it took them just because they were doubters. They did not believe. So it came to the time where Moses says, okay, I'm sending some people to spy out the land. In fact, the people might have come to him and say, this is what I want you to do. And God agreed with them, okay. So Moses sent 12 people, 12 men. These are leaders to include Joshua and Caleb. And he told them, okay, you go and see what life is like in that land that should be our new home, that land that was promised to us by God. So they were still camping out in the desert of Paran, and these men left as we pick up the story in verse 17 of Numbers chapter 13. It says, when Moses was sending them out to explore Canaan, he said, go through the Negev and then into the hill country. See what the land looks like. Learn about the people who live there. Are they strong or are they weak? Are they few or are they plenty? Learn about the land that they live in. Is it good land or bad land? What kind of towns do they dwell in? Do the towns have walls protecting them? Are the towns strongly defended? And learn other things about the land. Is the soil good for growing things? Or is it poor soil? Are there trees on the land? Try to bring back some of the fruit from the land. So they went to explore the country. They explored the area of the desert of Zin Triab and Lebo Amath. They entered the country through the Negev and went to Hebron. These men that they saw, or the people they saw, they were from the descendants of Anak. Then the men went to Eshcol Valley. There they cut off a branch from the grapevine and had a bunch of grapes on it. They put that bunch on a pole, and two men carried it between them. They also carried some pomegranates and figs. That place is called the Eshcol Valley because there the men of Israel cut off the bunch of grapes. The men explored that country for 40 days. And then they went back to the camp. The Israelites were camped near Kadesh in the desert of Paran. The men went to Moses and Aaron and all the people, and they told them what they saw and showed them fruit from the land. The men told Moses We went to the land where you send us. It is a land filled with many good things. Here is some of the fruit that grows there. But the people living there are very powerful. The cities are very large and strongly defended. We even saw some Anakites, the Hittites, the Jebusites, and the Amorites live in the hill country. But the Canaanites live near the sea by the Jordan River. Caleb told the people, listen, be quiet. Let us tell Moses exactly what we should do. He said we should go up and take the land for ourselves. We can easily take that land. But the men who had gone with them said, we cannot fight these people. They are much stronger than we are. So those men gave a report that discouraged the people. They said the land we saw is filled with strong people. They are strong enough to easily defeat anyone who goes there. We saw the giant Nephilim people there. The descendants of Anak come from the Nephilim. We felt like little grasshoppers. Yes, we were grasshoppers to them. What we see from the story today is that fear was the Israelites' greatest problem. They heard everything that was going on in the land. These 12 men, as we call them, the 12 spies, they spied out the land for 40 days. It means they went all about to see what was taking place and to bring the report back to Moses and Aaron. 2, Caleb and Joshua, had good report, and the whole reason is that they believed God. They say, we find the land, just as he said, a land flowing with milk and honey, a land that has good things. So, listen, we can go up and take this land. The other says, no, this is not the report we bring. Giants are there, and we look like grasshoppers to them. Therefore, we should not go. This report discouraged the people, and therefore fear grabbed a hold of them. They were thinking, what are we going to do now? We need a new leader. We want to go back to Egypt if we continue to read this story, but refuse as a majority to go in and to possess the land. They didn't remember all the good things that God had done for them in the past. He caused them to cross over the Red Sea on dry land. They knew God cared for them. But because of unbelief, they were willing to go back into slavery or to get rid of the leader that God has given them just because they were afraid. My question to you today, has God ever made you a promise? He is still able, he is still capable to fulfill that promise? Is there going to be trials or tests or persecution or things standing in our way as these 10 spies see? Sure enough. But God, who made the promise, is capable and well able to carry it out. So why are you afraid? Oh, little one, you who have a little faith, according to St. Matthew 8 and verse 26. We see only those who believe will inherit the promise. The scripture goes on to ask us, is there anything too hard? Is there anything too difficult for God? Is there anything standing in the way that will keep God from fulfilling his promise to you? We see from the story that Caleb and Joshua, those who believed the promise of God, it took them 40 years, but they inherited the promise. Bible tells us in Numbers 14 and verse 8, if the Lord delights in us, then he will bring us into this land and give it to us, a land which flows with milk and honey. God will not take back his word. Therefore, whatever he promised you, by faith, we have to rise up and seize it, because it is not mere us who is doing it, but God himself who will accomplish it. So today, whatever we are fearing, even though we have a promise, a word from God, let us not fear anymore, but trust God. The best thing a believer can do is to trust God. And the worst thing that we can do is to doubt God. Caleb and Joshua must have felt terrible when the other 10 people brought their report. Yes, all of them saw the same things. But those two, based on what God said, believe it could be done. Many times when we face struggles and the answer must come or the action must be taken, it's based on majority. But notice, God will always work with the minority. And we see that all through the scriptures, because it is not man who does the job, but it is God himself who has really promised. So whatever he promised you today, rise up and possess your possession, because God will be with you. The one who cared and the one who made the promise, he is truthful and he is faithful to carry out that promise, because he is a covenant keeper. God bless you. Thank you again for watching, and may God bless